the negative side, and the first point that the affirmative pointed out was that California schools are not producing adequate education. Now, public schools are instilling good writing and math backgrounds into their students, but due to the difference in learning rate, not all students are able to keep up with the rate. So therefore, this could be as to why public schools are not the ones to blame, that it may just be that the students maybe have something wrong with their learning. Now, stated by learningdisabilities.com, every student has learning disabilities to some degree. Some learn better by reading than by doing and listening to a lecture. Others learn by working on hands-on projects and by thinking about ideas in their minds. Some learn or prefer to write. The possibilities are endless. Teens with learning disabilities have strengths in some areas and weaknesses in others, just like everyone else. There's another point that the affirmative stated out, that it was stated that in public schools that they do not change their curriculum in order to enhance their learning experiences. With this statement, Seattle Public Schools stated that they are committed to ensuring high expectations and high-quality schools for every student. As a part of the system-wide effort to increase the number of Seattle Public Schools students who graduate from high school prepared for college in the 21st century workforce. It also states that Seattle Public Schools is committed to having a certain curriculum for their students in order to be ready for college. And one of the things that they call it is aligned curriculum. And aligned curriculum is a coherent and consistent progression of content, instruction, and assessment across a course of study. So basically, they set up a program for their students to be better prepared for college. So this kind of proves the point that they do set up a certain curriculum for their students. The affirmative statement is that public schools do not focus on college prep adequately, and this is false. The public school system is accused of not teaching their students correctly when in reality they are. Students are actually being pushed so hard in classes that for some reason they feel they need to drop out of college because drop out of high school because they're so stressed out. If students do not get overwhelmed and make the poor decision to drop out, they will be able to continue their education and then therefore prepare themselves better for college. Students dropping out of high school is not to blame on the public schools, but it's simply just the students being pushed maybe a little too hard than what they would like. From M&M.com, emerging research in the education world suggests that a tougher approach to high school academics might leave students no better prepared for college and work, while also increasing the number of high school dropouts. And then it also mentions that in Chicago, a 2000 study that no positive effects on student achievement from the school reform measure ended remedial classes and required college preparatory coursework for all students. The reason that maybe these students, they may be like struggling in school, so maybe they're not showing classes much, so maybe that is why they are having to take remedial courses, and therefore that could be affecting the rates of the public schools doing bad. Another statement by the affirmative was that public schools have a system that goes through several stages, but in my opinion, these stages only help students because it gives the students a chance to improve themselves instead of kicking them out. So that's like talking about at the private schools, when a student gets in trouble, the private school basically just kicks out the student because there are problems with their school and they feel that they don't need to deal with them anymore. And the public schools, they actually take their time, they go through a process, they give the student a chance to continue their education, and that's basically going to benefit the student. Now, it's stated that if a child's behavior disrupts the school milieu, they can be kicked out. Another scenario is to keep in mind that if a student's academic process is not acceptable, they may be kicked out as well. Now, that's the con of a public school. So the second statement that the affirmative makes is that education and wealth distribution creates harm to public schools due to the fact that they do not have equal distribution of wealth. Now, wealth, that may be true because there may be certain areas of schools that are doing better because they are having more taxpayer dollars, so therefore they're able to have better programs for their students to study, such as tutors and all that. There was a certain woman by the name of Kristen Kolifenstein from Northern Carolina. She went to university over there, and she talks about school in a certain area, and that school basically was actually doing pretty good, but then came a charter school, and the charter school wanted to shut them down. And unfortunately, these students weren't succeeding at that school, and so they were going to have to end their school. And another scenario that would have to do with this is that the Garfield High School principal states that there are students from poor areas. These kids are very smart because their parents don't even speak English. These kids do speak English. They do have high rates of scores and all that, and these kids are actually going to the top schools. So basically, this is like proving that students who do live in bad areas can do good in school. Let's see, there's also that not all, their case is that the affirmative brings up that the voucher system would increase the education and overall higher education as the outcome. Now, the affirmative states that the voucher would create competition. Yes, there would be competition, but then this competition may actually harm the schools. For instance, there's in the Chino Valley Unified School District, they recently shut down about three schools. Now, maybe it was because more private schools opened up in the area. It's not very known, but that could be a reason. And by these students having their school shut down, they're going to have to relocate. They're going to have to go to new schools, and then they're going to have to take shuttles and all that to get to these schools. And these schools actually, there was actually a study taken, and some of these students, they had to travel 65 minutes, 100 minutes, 70 minutes. And actually, having to move around so much and that much time in a bus, they're actually losing their study time. So this probably was affecting the rates of these students. He states that the vouchers would actually give better choices in which the students, for certain areas, but actually this could be proven wrong, that not everything about the private schools are better. There are certain teachers there where they don't have to have their credential. They actually only have to have a degree. And with the public schools, you have to have a degree and you have to have your credentials. So basically these teachers have worked harder, they've gone to school longer, they've put more effort in. So I guess you could say that this would not be the fault of the public schools rates being low.